Hello, I am Kimberly Streetman, and this is my scavenger hunt lab 2. So I'm just going to go through my items and tell you what kind of substance they are, what form of matter they are. So I'm going to start out with the pure substance, and that is sugar. So the reason why it's a pure substance is there's multiple reasons. So for first start, it's not mixed with anything. It's just the sugar in itself, like nothing else is added into here. And sugar is just pure sucrose. So yeah, that is my pure substance example, sugar. So going on to my homogeneous mixture. So milk is a colloid, and a colloid is a type of homogeneous mixture. So I can't see all the fat and the the protein molecules in this. However, I know it's in here. I mean, it's very easy to know if you just look at the ingredients. And of course, you get a lot of nutrients from milk. But we can't see them except for microscopically. So this is a homogeneous mixture because it is a colloid. Because it is mixtures of a lot of different things, but we can't see it from natural eye level. Okay, so my heterogeneous mixture, it's peanut butter crackers. So heterogeneous mixture, I know this is one because it's made of two different substances, the peanut butter and the cracker. However, you could pick them apart. Like you can easily pull them apart, and that's what makes a homogeneous mixture homogeneous. Or it makes a heterogeneous mixture heterogeneous because you can take them apart physically and not chemically. You don't have to do anything any chemical reaction to get the peanut butter to separate from the cracker. You can just literally just like scrape it off or just pull it off. It depends on how cheap your crackers are. But yeah, like that's pretty self-explanatory right there. So yeah, heterogeneous mixture, peanut butter crackers. So, going on to my solid, hamburger meat. So this is a solid because when I hold it, first off, you can package it without it going everywhere. And I can hit it, and I can touch it, I can drop it. It won't splash, it won't bust apart. And the particles are all very packed. And that's what makes a solid is when all the particles are staying still. It's not a gas either. The particles aren't moving around crazy, and the liquid particles, they're not really they're not as moving around as much. These are more in a fixed position and stable position, and that's what makes hamburger meat a solid. And then for my suspension, so today, it's peanut butter. So a suspension, peanut butter is a suspension because if you ever notice, like whenever you don't use peanut butter for a while, or like things like Nutella or peanut butter or almond butter, like the oil kind of rises to the top and you have to mix it. And so with a suspension, you have to physically mix things, like the substances together, to keep them together. Because the oil and the peanuts and all that usually stick together. That's what makes peanut butter. But if you leave it too long, then they will start to separate. And so there's not a ton of oil, but you can kind of see how like it's kind of glistening right there. But in the end, okay, so if I dig down here, so that's oil on my finger. So it was really easy to just like grab some because I hadn't mixed it up in a little bit. So yeah, so that's the suspension, and I used to think that was so gross, and it is pretty gross if you think about it, but whatever. So yeah, you just got to stir that peanut butter so it's not a suspension. Well, it always will be a suspension, but okay, so going on to my emulsion, if I can close this. So we have mayo. I love mayo, and it's really gross if you think about it because it's just like a lot of fat, and it's kind of weird how it's made. I really didn't know how it was made. I just knew it was an emulsion just because, like, you gotta mix some weird stuff to get mayo. So it's like it's like solid, but it's like really creamy, of course. So it's not a liquid, not a gas. It's definitely a solid. But it's made up of different liquids that makes it a solid, which is weird. So that's what makes it an emulsion. It's egg yolk mixed with like lemon juice or vinegar, not sure. This has water, eggs, and vinegar. So then it has a bunch of little things in it. So it's like egg yolk, which is a liquid, and vinegar, which is liquid, which really usually don't combine. But they do for mayo, and so that's what makes mayo an emulsion.